Hello, I'm Michelle. This is Somewhere in Bookland, and this video is about my Biannual Bibliothon TBR. The Biannual Bibliothon goes from July 14th to July 20th, and there are 7 challenges. I am going to be reading 4 books for these 7 challenges. I have a couple that are going to be doubling up because I don't know if I could read 7 books in 7 days. I think I could, but the first book I'm going to be reading for the Biannual Bibliothon is the group book The Wicked Deep by Shay Earnshaw. This book is about these 3 girls who are drowned for witchcraft, and hundreds of years later they come back every summer as like ghosts, inhabit the bodies of 3 girls, and lure boys to their death. This is the group book, and I'm excited that this was the group book because I already owned it and I didn't have to buy a book to read for it. So I'm excited to read this book. It seems like wicked and creepy, and I'm also reading this book for the Owls Readathon, so I was waiting to start it until the Biannual Bibliothon also happened. This is also there's another challenge that I'm going to be using this book for, and that is a predicted 5-star read. I really think I'm going to really like this book because I like supernatural type stuff. So I really think this is going to be a 5-star read. I really hope it's going to be a 5-star read. The second challenge, well, I guess the third, since I already used 2 challenges. The next challenge is to read a book from somebody else's TBR. I got this book off of Emma Books' TBR, and that is Crazy Rich Asians by Kevin Kwan. This book is about this girl, Rachel Chu, who agrees to go visit her boyfriend's family in Singapore, but little does she know that his childhood home is a palace, and he is one of the most eligible bachelors. They'll be attending the wedding of the year, and his mom just might not like her. I've been wanting to read this book for a while. Ever since I found it I first heard of it on YouTube, and the movie is going to be coming out soon, and I really want to read this book before the movie comes out. So I'm excited that she had it on her TBR. I'm also using this book for the challenge to read an own voices book that is different than you. So far I have 4 of the 7 challenges down with just those 2 books. For the last 3 challenges, I'm going to skip a couple of them and go straight to the last challenge, which is to read the last book you purchased. And for that challenge, I'm going to be reading Grace and the Fever by Zane Romanoff. And this book is about this girl who's obsessed with this band, The Fever, and she is one of the biggest fangirls of them. She has like an online blog and everything. And then she somehow gets swept up into their social circle and their life. And it just like changes how she sees them and makes her realize the air that they put on for the public and how they really are. And it's based off of like a One Direction type book, I think. Chelsea Darling Reads was talking about this book recently, and that made me want to read it. I had already wanted to read it, but then I finally bit the bullet and bought it. So the last 2 challenges I have left is the try a chapter out of 3 different books and choose one to read, and to read a book that's been on your TBR for over a year. So I'm putting those 2 together. I chose 3 books that have been on my TBR for over a year, and I'm going to read a chapter of each of them and see which one I want to read. So those 3 books are The Shadow Queen by C.J. Redwine, Stardust by Neil Gaiman, and Landline by Rainbow Rowell. So I'm going to start with Landline by Rainbow Rowell, and I'll be back. Okay, so I just finished the first chapter of Landline. Landline is about this girl, Georgie. Well, this woman, she's an adult, married, kids. She has a magic telephone that she can use to call the past, and she calls it and she speaks to her husband. and she's hoping she can use it to kind of fix their relationship, but she's not sure if she wants to fix their relationship, or I think that's what it's saying. So the first chapter was really short. It was about Georgie, and she's coming home late from work, and she kind of walks in, trips over some stuff. Her daughter Alice is asleep on the couch. Her husband's really happy to see her. They're talking. He's smiling a lot. And she says that's a change because normally when she comes home this late, he isn't super happy. He warms her up dinner and lets her know that he washed all her clothes because apparently they're going on a trip. But then Georgie has some news to break to him that she has to stay home and not go on the trip, and she's hoping that they all stay home. You find out that it's Christmas because the reason that she has to stay home because she has to work, because she's like a TV producer or a TV writer. I think she's a TV writer, and one of her shows might be getting picked up, and Neil isn't very happy about this, and it's decided that Neil is going to go with the children to visit his parents because they already bought plane tickets and everything was already planned, and she is going to stay. His attitude changes. He goes from being super happy to see her and joking around to just being cold and distant, and you can tell that there's a strain in their relationship. And she mentions this guy Seth that she works with, and he repeats the name Seth, so part of me is wondering if there's some tension there. Either Seth really has her working long hours, or maybe he thinks something's going on between her and Seth. I don't know. But yes, it was good. I think it didn't really hook me right away. I think I would need to read some more of the book to get pulled in. So already I'm thinking this one's probably not going to be the one I choose, but we will see. The first chapter in this one was only 8 pages long, and I'm really hoping that the other ones are going to be just as short, because if they're really long, I don't know what I'm going to do. Okay, I'll be back. Bye. So now I'm going to read the first chapter of The Shadow Queen by C.J. Redwine. Okay, so I didn't read the first chapter of this book. I read just the prologue because the other book was only like 7 pages, 8 pages, and the prologue was like 5 or 6, and then the first chapter was another like 7. So I didn't think it'd be fair if I read like 15 pages of this one and only 8 pages of that one. This book isn't what I thought it was. I thought it was a Snow White retelling, like I knew that, but it's more like dark and gory than I thought it would be. And it seems really interesting. Like, I'm a little excited to read this book. So this book follows Lorelai Diedrich, who is a crown princess, but she's also like running away from her evil stepmom. And both she and the stepmom have powers. And then there's a neighboring kingdom where the king and the firstborn son dies, and the secondborn son has to take over, and he needs magic to help save his kingdom. So he makes a deal with the evil queen, Irina, and he agrees to bring her Lorelai's heart. But then him and Lorelai meet, and Lorelai's not who he thought she was, and she finds herself falling for him. But just from the prologue was like, it just summed up her mom died, and then the stepmom took over, and she starts feeding everybody these apples, and she's like, oh, those are for non-magic people. Like, you're not gonna eat the apple, I'm not gonna eat the apple, everybody else eats the apples. And she sees that the apples look pretty, but they're like rotten, and everybody's eating them. They all turn into puppets, and then she can't take it anymore, and she like tries to expel their power, Irina's power. And then when she does that, everybody's like mind clears and they realize what she's been doing, and the king's like, throw her in jail, and he tells her to run away with her brother, like to run. And then I think she like kills, the stepmom kills the king, and she's about to kill her. Irina's about to kill Lorelai, and then like one of his guards comes and whisks them away, and they make a run for it. And that all happened in just the prologue in 5 pages, and it sounds really good. So right now I'm leaning towards this book. The next book I'm going to try is Stardust by Neil Gaiman, because I really love this movie and I really need to read the book. I already took like a sneak peek at the first chapter, and it's like 35 pages, so I'm probably only going to read like 8 or 9 and kind of see where it's at instead of reading the full 35 pages. Because if I read the full 35 pages, I may as well just finish the book. So we'll see. I'm gonna start on this one now. Okay, so I read the first 10 pages of Stardust. This book is about this guy, Tristan, who's trying to win the hand of Victoria. When he sees a falling star, he says that he will bring it back for her. But in order to do so, he has to cross this wall, and when he does, he enters the land of fairy. I love this movie. I've never read the book, but I love the movie. And the first 10 pages was really just setting up the book. It was talking about the land of Wall. It was talking about the wall in general and how they have people guard it. It's actually not even following him right now. I believe it's following his dad. I still want to read this book. It sounds interesting. I love the movie. I want to read it. I would need a little bit longer. I would probably need the whole first chapter. Maybe the whole first chapter follows like setting it up, and then the second chapter actually follows Tristan. But I think for this readathon, my choice is going to be The Shadow Queen by C.J. Redwine, which is actually a surprise to me because I really thought I was going to choose Stardust. But I chose The Shadow Queen. So these are the 4 books that I'm going to be reading for the Biannual Bibliothon, and I hope they're good. So if you like this video, hit the thumbs up button. If you want to see more of this face in your feed, click subscribe, and I'll see you guys soon. Bye.